That piece heavily mirrors much of our From Russia with Love series, and it goes deeper into the so-called royal elements and how they are all deeply connected, which is why Anna von Reitz said Kim the trustee is a cousin of hers. But in 2015 I did a faction show which on the surface explained the alliances of the differing groups of power, none of which have an interest in we the people, unless we are of use to them as slaves or other heinous practices. I warned the alt media is laced with faction-based entities, again not operating for and by the people, only the factions they operate for and serve. And many people have struggled with the factions-based narrative, because if show A is outing whoever, that must mean they are for and by the people. Wrong thinking. And clearly now our listeners have seen we have outed much of the whole system of control, perhaps more than any other show, and it heavily leans into a conclusion of one race being more prominent than others in it. Those who go by the name of Jews. But not all Jewish people. We've made that very clear. And there are many alt media shows. But let's rattle off some names, shall we? Wilcock, Drake, Off Planet Radio, Project Camelot, Alex Jones, David Icke, The Sergeant Report, X22, Veterans Today, except Preston Nichols, Aim for Truth, Truth Cat Radio, Wolf Spirit Radio, Revolution Radio, Life Force, ITNJ, Anna von Reitz, Graham Hancock, Richard Hoagland, Michael Tsarian, Pete Peterson, Robert David Steele, Sasha Stone, Cindy Bloody Courier, Karen Hudis, Neil Keenan, Jesper Ellerman, Michael Tellinger, Simon Parks, Cobra, Shane Bales, or The Ruiner, the Super Soldier Crew, Miles Johnston, Greg Hallett, Russell J. Gould, David Wynne Miller, amongst many others. Throw in all the crypto and RV people, as all of them work for and by the establishment, all of them. Now, all of these people I've just mentioned have made this claim and that claim, and they've outed this group and that group. And they've all revealed all kinds of differing information. And yet none of them went near the elephant in the room of the Jewish elite's problem. Now, why is that? Volumes and volumes of knowledge brought forth, and yet none will touch the main problem on this planet. Are they blind or complicit? You decide. The evidence of most of the world's issues has been brought forward by this show. It is overwhelming. Yet where are the others covering it? Why was I kept off of most radio shows? 8 years of doing radio shows with some of the most groundbreaking shows, yet I've appeared on just 7 other shows. All 7 shows I've been on, 8 if you include Cosmic Voice, all did a runner. Why is that? Now, I have been offered to go on 4 or 5 other shows, 2 recently. I refused out of principle. Plus, I no longer trust any of the show's intentions for bringing me on. None of them. The bloodline elites or elites, the nobility, the banking problem, the establishment groups all have one thing and one race in common. And yet, zip, nada, nothing from all those researchers, hosts, books or shows. What does that tell you? We'll go back to 2015 and the Faction Show, which was way ahead of its time, and you'll see why. The fact is, and I don't find this is a good thing or take any glory out of saying it, in fact I find it very, very sad. We are the only show for and by the people without a hidden agenda that is not connected to a faction, secret society or bloodline family connections. And once more people in the alt media realise that as a fact, as sad as it is, and come and join the people's movement to end these faction-based clowns, then we the people can and will move forward. Is it daunting and a long-winded process for the people to rise? You bet it is. But those of you outside the THI field have been in weight clubs for over a decade now. How did that work out for you? Zero has changed much since the rise of the alt media around 2007, except the clowns and the portal people have lost the narrative in many aspects. You want real change? Come and join us. The change was never outside of you, but within. And from within, the TPC, you and we, can grow together. There was an article this week of crass stupidity, and yet so many people follow this bullshit, and it was dated February the 18th 2021, but to me it's February the 18th 2014, because it's no different in the narrative. And the questions remain is, has Charlie Ward become the new tank? What is the connection? Is it significant? Now, Ward became more known to us at THI following the trustee appearing on his show last October. And Ward has since sent me an invite to his show a few months back, and I ignored it. The reason being is I don't feel the need to go on any shows or any other shows anymore. I'm not here to sell anything or convince anybody of our knowledge or group. People find it when they are ready. And the point is, too many are not ready for the full truth yet. Now, some people may not like some of the content within our shows. I agree. I don't like most of the content within our shows either. But someone has to call it as it is. We have all had enough of the saviour programmes and the BS that pervades most, if not all, of the alt media now, as I've just referenced. The alt media, was sick and dying in 2016 when I and also Randy Morgans exposed it. And it's now a lame duck section of dubious characters, none of which are operating for and by the people. None of them. And I will repeat, none of which is operating for and by the people. They are all agency goons with faction-based narratives. Otherwise, at least one or more would cover the Jewish elite problem. Not one of them has covered the Hebrew Anunnaki problem this planet faces, and it's bad enough the BS that they tell you, but a studious THI member will spot what they are not telling you. That fact exposes them. And yes, they will bullshit you with whatever you want to hear, but ultimately over time their narrative falls apart. Ultimately over time, one show stayed consistent with its information, predictions and truths, and that show is THI. And I will never compromise truth for extra listeners, donations, likes or followers. Period. Well, here's the latest from Charlie Ward. He said, "We are exchanging dinars, zims and dongs. Dark to light, ascension to 5D plus, the RV, GCR, Nasara, Jasara, New Republic, amazing tech, health, wealth, happiness, creativity, innovation." Okay. 107 or 07 or Saviour. The military are running America. I wouldn't count on that, lad. Rothschild's running. Military can't run themselves, never mind anybody else. The EBS, which is the Emergency Broadcast System, and they are running the tribunals and Nasara. Okay. Charlie Ward reported that once the quantum financial system is turned on, lots of things will change. Which one? And he said, immediately that happens, it takes the power away from the deep state and the cabal, which then means we have got access to the med beds. Okay. Then someone asked him the question, when is Nasara happening? We're nearly there. I was speaking to the quantum financial system people only 10 minutes ago. The number 2 on the quantum financial system. Really? Either it's not the same quantum financial system or Kim has been replaced. Or both. When will we see all the arrests publicly announced? It's creeping out now, but the mainstream media are blocking it. Question, what will happen with our home loans with Nasara Jasara in Australia? The same as it will worldwide. When we move into Nasara Jasara, the mortgages, the loans, if they're to do with the bank, will be removed, forgiven, and that's where we're moving to right now. Okay. Question, when will you see the pics of the reptilians? This will all come out, he said. It will be available for those who want to look for it rather than in your face. There's a lot going on behind the scenes and it will be drip-fed about the reptilians and the takedown of them. What we're seeing is the alliance taking out the cabal worldwide. Mr. Ward, the alliance is the Black Sun, which are also connected to the Vril, who are also reptilian. The alliance was covered in From Russia with Love 8. Can't remember whether it was A, B or C. We covered that. Question: will Trump return to the White House in DC, or will it be relocated? Trump will never ever return to DC. My gut feeling is they'll probably bulldoze it once they've cleared out all the tunnels below. They've blown those up. Nasara will hit straight away, and then Jassara will roll out as General Flynn and his team go round the world in 180 days, or perhaps less, and help each country transition. Oh no, it's not 180 days, it's just February and March. Didn't say which year. Well, oh dear. And Charlie Ward finished this epic pile of bullshit off with perhaps a hidden clue or revealing when he stated this, quote, "This is all a smokescreen, as I said a year ago. This is all a smokescreen for the change," unquote. Except it never, Mr. Ward, did he? And people have to start thinking better. We have a change of US government every 4 years. Did it change for the people? We had a change of bankers at the Federal Reserve last March. Did it change for the benefit of the people? There is no change unless it involves we the people. And those people have changed within themselves in a better way. Change for the sake of change with no input by we the people is another of the loop-based memory wipe programs. Charlie Ward is just Neil Keenan with less hair. Except that was not the only thing that Mr. Ward was involved in this week. Because Ward is now being exposed for not only talking shite, but in his own words, he was an underage child procurer for none other than the pedophile Jimmy Savile. And it was a person by the name of Kit Ward who was sexually assaulted by Savile and others who came forward to expose it all. And the question is Kit Ward a relation of Charlie Ward? What are the chances of Ward, potentially a pedophile procurer, it's the allegations at this point, although he admitted with his own words in the video that he would collect underage girls for the pedophiles in the BBC on Top of the Pops. What are the chances of Ward being together with Simon Parkes, who was exposed by this show for astral raping at least 6 of his followers? And Ward also being in connection with Robert David Steele and Sasha Stone, who has had similar sexual allegations against him. Plus the cover-up of the major pedophilia done by Stone and Steele with ITNJ, as other researchers have stated. I told you all 5 years ago, most of the alt media personalities are clown agents sent in for penance for their own criminal backgrounds. and sexual crimes is often the leverage of the agencies. And remember, there are many others who have been involved in allegations in that particular field. Team Bubba and David Rea. And then there was the wholesale allegations of being involved in or with sex servers, with potential elements of child porn being involved. Like I said, and worth repeating, these were allegations against Kerry Cassidy, James Gilliland, Wolfsprit Radio, David Wilcock, Miles Johnston, Randy Morgans, Sean David Morton, and some others. Just how deep does all this charade go? Is the question for you all to answer. I already know. Some questions for you. If tank is considered an option, then perhaps your options need to be reconsidered. If tank is your only option, then perhaps your path has to be reconsidered. Is going on a crypto-based show a valid option? The latest rerun of a rerun of a rerun into infinity is the medbed technology. And again, people just accept these machines as they are stated. And the folly of not questioning them for an alleged awake community, I find startling. What if they are not healing beds but DNA reconstruction machines? What if they are avatar machines? What if they are sleeping pods? The medbeds developed and promoted by Jared Rand, Rand being the operative word here. Remember, Rand built the DUMS, including at Dulce, where there are other world beings scurrying round. Rand were a designated company for the Majestic 12 group. Rand are a bloodline family. I have stated this current situation is a potential hostile off-world takeover. To do that, they would have to remove many of the current on-world population. Think different. Now I will repeat the questions again. What if they are not healing beds but DNA reconstruction machines? What if they are avatar machines? What if they are sleeping pods? And for those who have watched the 100 series, try this pondering question. Is the vaccine the modern day version of the flame and or the City of Light pill? And this came in an email from one of the listeners. And he said, what I have observed in the chat and my conversations in public is that maybe you have enabled a community of teachers that spread from the Americas to the UK, Europe, Asia, Australia and Africa to all four corners of the world. And that is the premise of THI and the TPC. One man or woman cannot share it alone. It has to be shared by the many. and we are making good progress despite how the other world looks. It is collapsing for a reason. Another thing I would like to highlight is there has been a number of religious posts in MeWe recently, and one is unsure of their intentions behind them posts, but one post solicited and elicited a response from me. And it essentially highlighted a church doing good things, but not the people. That is subtle labelling and externalisation, that is called. Why are good people doing good things labelled into a programme, and then that programme replaces the person? Do you really think your God wants you to do that? These are good people, and has got nothing to do with the labels added. Zero. You know, would you say John is a good person because he's a plumber, or John is a good person because he's a liberal, or John is a good person because he's a man? No. John is a good person because John has made the right choices in life, and it's zero to do with some church building or other labels imposed upon him. Yet again, an example of the church externalizing you from the internal. Something to remember. There are many people, not just one group, there are many people in THI are now starting to explore their past and their recalls of it, and also connections to it. And they are and can be exciting times. But one must also recognise their past is not their now. And that is not a critique. It is a piece of advice after going through similar myself. I see the pitfalls, and I've watched many succumb to the trap. Recognise the insight as you, not because you were X, Y, or Z. It is about you, this timeline, this lifetime, and not the past or future lifetimes. Now, the more you develop, the more insight and learning will be presented to you. That doesn't mean you will get it. You have to put the work in to get it, process it, and then understand it. Distractions will always be thrown in the way. And the main distraction is the sixth and the hidden hook. And focusing on names, status, and titles of the past will, depending on the level of energy you put into it, will lead to a distraction, which is exactly what the dark are intending to do. It is all about the balance. Observe, not absorb. You is the future, not the past. If you lead life in love and care, you will prevail. If you lead life in fear and anger, you will fail. Feel free for you to be the person you wish to be, not the person who conforms to what others want them to be. You are a multi-dimensional being operating simultaneously on many levels. You are not here to conform. You are not here to be stifled. You are not here to be enslaved. You are not here to be abused or to compete with your friends, family or neighbours. You are here to be the best you can be, and do so as a crown of creation. Now go out with the confidence of who and what you are, and excel in yourself, and in doing so, inspire others. This has been the Truth, Honour and Integrity Show. My name's Thomas Williams. Bye for now.